How's it going, my comic channel? We're here today with Leanne and Ingino, the creator of, you're the creator, right?
Yeah.
All right. Feline and what, help me out here.
Fangs and Foul Play.
Fangs and Foul Play. So, did you kickstart this book?
Yeah, it was kickstarted in November of 2021. It's still early in 2022, so I'm mixing up my years still.
Is this first book ever?
Yeah, I've been in a bunch of anthologies, but this is my first full-length issue. First Kickstarter, first full issue.
What anthologies was you in?
I was in Cthulhu's Hard to Spell 2, and 3 is coming out later this month. Not So Fair Tales, which is fulfilling now. For a lot. And then there's more upcoming. Becoming, which was put out by Oneshi Press. And I want to say that's like it's like either 9 or 12, which is like a big difference, but I can't remember. They've been putting out a bunch of anthologies. Tales from Neverland. I think those are all the ones that are out. I think there's more that are coming out this year. They haven't come out. Like I've been done with it for so long that it feels like it's already come out, but it hasn't actually been on Kickstarter yet.
Nice. So you've been in anthologies before you made your own book?
Yes. Yeah. I think it was a great way to get my feet wet.
Oh yeah. So what's your book about?
So my book is about a telepathic vampiric cat, Fang, he's been living alone for well, it's not really a spoiler, so it's okay. I think it's something like 50 or so years. We haven't like really discussed it in the comic yet. It's going to come up later, but it's not like a big, it's a number. It doesn't matter that much. So he's like been stuck in this house, and he can't leave, and so he's just been like feeding on rats for years. Meanwhile, a war deserter, he's running from the war front, and he finds this house, and it's like snowing, and he's running and all tattered and hungry, and finds this house and goes in, and nobody's home, so he decides to sleep there, and well, now he becomes a thrall to the vampiric cat and has to feed the cat human beings. So
love it.
Is this the premise?
Is it going to be a trade paperback or like single issues?
Eventually, yes. Hope if everybody's loving the next couple issues, then yes, it'll be a trade.
Where can we pick up a copy right now?
Right now, you can get issue 0 at fangsandfoulplay.com, but issue 1 will likely be up on the website within the next couple months. I'm about to start fulfilling the Kickstarter, so the pre-order store just closed so that I can, get all that fulfilled. So it's actually, at the moment, not available, but it will be available soon on my website, which is headlessgnomes.com. So just working on getting that set up, and I want to get the Kickstarter fulfilled before putting that out there.
All right. Do you have issue 2 written and ready to go?
Written, it's usually I don't like to send it to my artist until it's like 100% edited, but I just have some dialogue that I'm like, this is okay, we're gonna make it better, but I wanted to let him get started, so he started on a couple pages. We're getting going with that. May is the goal for the next Kickstarter.
Nice. Our birthday's in May.
Nice.
Are you going to any Comic-Cons right now?
Not yet. I have my list open right now of like conventions to look at, mostly California, because that's where I am, mostly Southern California. A couple that like might be worth the travel if I could get in, I mean, being pretty new, can I get into the one in Seattle? Was it Emerald City? Yeah, I think that's it. Like, I don't know. We'll see. But
so, does California have a big Comic-Con like New York?
Yeah, the San Diego Comic-Con one is the big one.
I should have known that.
No, it's okay.
Can you get a table at that one?
I believe it's very difficult. I believe it's also very pricey, but don't quote me. I could be wrong.
Are you in comic shops yet?
I'm not. Well, no, that's not entirely true. I did the Comics Collective. I know I'm saying that wrong. Yeah. Maybe it's just the Collective. Yeah.
Florida?
Yeah. They're getting a retailer package from the Kickstarter, and then I need to start doing the legwork of calling around. So.
Nice. They do a lot for indie comics.
Yeah, they really do.
You?
I'll have to stop by if I head to Florida one day.
That was my next question. Was you going to fly here to do any book signings?
Nothing lined up, but it is something that I plan to look into.
Where can we get news about what you got upcoming?
I have headlessgnomes.com, but probably which I just did a webinar on revamping your website. I'm like, oh yeah, we gotta do some stuff, right? So I gotta do some stuff there. But aside from that, I'm probably most active on my Facebook page, which is at Headless Gnomes. Question mark. I'm pretty sure it's all at Headless Gnomes. Yeah.
Do you have an Instagram?
Something else after it.
Do you have an Instagram or anything?
I do. I'm really bad at updating it, but I do have one.
All right. We'll put it down in the comments.
Yeah, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Facebook's where I'm most active at the moment.
All right. And if anybody wants to get you for their anthology, where can they contact you at?
Leanne at headlessgnomes.com, or message me on Facebook. Well, it's kind of good, but not unless, like, because if you're not friends, it doesn't go to that, so you don't always see it. So I'm like, might not get through. Sometimes I'll forget to check it, and then like a couple months later, I'm like, oh shoot.
Well, I don't really check mine because it's a lot of spam in there.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to newcomers trying to make a comic book?
I would definitely suggest starting small, going with an anthology, something 4 to 8 pages. I think this might be different for writer versus artist, and I don't mean like versus like or against each other. Just it might be a little different how you're coming into things, because as an artist, I think that you could take a pre-existing script and draw some pages based off of it and show that around to people. As a writer, I don't feel like there's as many people looking at scripts. Everybody still wants to see a finished page. So as a writer, you still have to, somebody's got to put that page together for you. So that's why I think anthologies are really good, because you can hire an artist, but you're hiring them for a shorter amount of pages. So you don't have to go a whole issue and then get that printed.
With an anthology, do you get to pick your own artist, or do you get paired with an artist?
Mostly I've had to, and I don't mean like I have to, but mostly I have kind of had to, where they said, we're not going to pair you. It's pretty rare that I've seen people where they're like, yeah, we'll pair you with an artist. I have seen it, but it's definitely more rare. They want you to come ready as a team. So it's like a good and bad thing, because if I choose an artist that they're not interested in, then my story might not get chosen. So you kind of like got to do a little legwork on that and make sure you're going with a unique or a really good artist or something. Not necessarily well known though. If the publisher has anthologies out already, like definitely look at like what they're doing, what type of art styles they're going for. Some books I've been in, what they want is a variety of styles. So then it can be really good to go with something more quirky and unique, versus like you're not doing like a Jim Lee style page or something, which also it's probably going to cost you a lot more anyway. So.
Okay. So do you have a go-to artist that you use, or do you have a couple or several?
I have several. I've worked, the first artist I worked with in an anthology is Abby Butler, and I know I want to do something full-term, like longer with her at one point. I haven't figured out the right story yet, so I'm like, all right, we got to figure out the story and then do it. So I've worked with her on like a couple of anthologies. I've worked with, I think it's Jorge Gabato, is how you pronounce it? I could be pronouncing the last name wrong. I've worked with him on a couple. He jumped on 2, and then I had one artist who, and I can't remember his last name. It's Emmanuel. I can't remember the last name right now. But it was in I Like Robots. So if you guys pick up that anthology, it's in there.
Sounds familiar.
There was a couple. I originally tried to get it in the one put out by their big name. And now I can't think of it. But they had a robot like End of the World anthology come out recently on Kickstarter, and they didn't take it. So, but then there was another robot anthology like a couple months later, and I was like, well, maybe it'll be a fit there, and it worked, and we got funded, and so great. Yeah.
Nice. So you said doing an anthology. Do you have to like kind of battle for your spot for other people? Because you said if the art doesn't fit what they got going on.
Right. Yeah. Or if you like, I mean, it's kind of like any submission where you're submitting and lots of other people are submitting. So if you submit, fiction to a magazine, they might get 10 submissions, they might get 100 or more. And you kind of are competing, but you don't see what everybody else is sending in. You don't see what everybody else is doing. So in that way, it's blind. So, you just want to send in. When most of the anthologies don't want completed work already, so if it doesn't work out, you don't have to pay for anything. You have to do a little bit of work, but you don't have to do a lot of work. I usually will have an outline ready. Most of them won't want the outline. They'll just want a pitch, which is nice and short, but having the outline also helps me write a pitch, because if I don't know where it's going, that's a little bit harder for me to write that pitch.
Yeah.
But there are other people, and I think that I know that, I think it was Producing the End of the World was the name of the anthology. I know they got a ton of submissions. So, just whenever there's more people involved, your chances obviously diminish a little bit.
Okay. Did you have a favorite anthology that you worked on? You don't have to tell us which one if you think don't want to cause no issues or nothing.
Gee. Probably my favorite story is the one that I have coming out in Cthulhu Invades Wonderland, which I believe we're still working on setting a date for.
It's Travis Gibbs, right?
Yeah.
I know Travis well.
So I don't know as far as like favorite, who I worked with was the favorite or whatnot, but that's probably like one of my favorite stories from all the anthologies, I think.
Could you tell us what characters you got?
I think so. Hopefully I won't get in trouble later.
Next week.
Yeah. Like, Travis, you spilled too many secrets. Oh no. Who is my character? Oh, the White Queen.
Oh, nice.
I love her. Carol Channing plays a version of her in one of the older Alice in Wonderland movies, and her scenes are just like so crazy. I love it. So yeah.
What advice would you give to people that wants to run a Kickstarter for the first time?
Oh, don't rush into it. I thought I was ready. I was still not ready. Like, I've been like preparing for like a year, maybe a little bit less than a year. Start your page like now, even if you have nothing. I mean, you might need like a synopsis of your story, but there's so much that goes into that page design. You could start putting it up, and you don't have to have Kickstarter, review it until you're almost ready to launch. So I think a couple weeks out. I'm a comics launch member, and that was like just invaluable. The trainings in there were so valuable. So, I mean, it's an investment for sure. You can definitely do it without it, but it really helped a lot. And also just having that community too was very beneficial. Having people to talk to and cross promote with was really good. Research your costs a lot. And then if you can, like, move the goal. It's hard to move the goal up. Like, I think I put my goal a little bit below what I really needed, not a lot, because I knew I couldn't like do too much out of pocket, because I had a complete comic going to Kickstarter, so I really had already put a lot into it out of pocket for all the art, of course, and the editing and all that good stuff. But from the Kickstarter, I was trying to see like how could I get the goal down a little bit without eating into that little buffer too much, because you want a little buffer.
It is. Do you get a profit from Kickstarter? I mean, I don't want to know the numbers. I've never had a Kickstarter, so I'm just curious.
Well, define profit.
Or is Kickstarter for so you can recoup money from making the book, so you can pay everybody and get it printed?
For me, I was really paying for the printing and the shipping. I was not doing a goal to repay myself for the artist. Now, everybody's printing goal is going to be different, so I printed 1,000 copies, so I'm hoping to recoup profit from selling those copies. Okay. It's going to take some time now. Now, some people will pay their artists try to recoup artists from the Kickstarter, which is totally fine too. So your goals may vary, and if you're trying to pay your artists back, you might have to print, like you might have to do a smaller print run, or your goal is going to be pretty high, and if you have the audience to support that, who's going to get you that goal, then yeah, you can do it. But if you're just starting out, I feel like my goal was already a little bit high for a first-time creator, so I was very thankful that I met it.
What was your goal?
36.
Oh wow, what's that? I don't feel that that's too bad.
I mean, I've seen a lot of people do it on an issue 1. I felt, I was iffy. I was iffy going into it. I was nervous.
Yeah. And you said issue 0 is out right now on the website?
Yeah, issue 0, you can get it by signing up for the newsletter. fangsandfoulplay.com will take you to that opt-in. So issue 1, don't mind me showing, this is my prototype 1. So they're being printed together as issue 0 plus 1.
Okay.
And then the next issue 2 will be a little bit smaller because it'll just be issue 2 for that one.
All right. Yeah, let us
so
know.
That one's 26 pages.
Okay. Let me know when I can buy a copy now. I'll get a copy of.
Yeah, totally.
And
I mean, you can message me directly too. So.
All right, we'll talk about it after.
I just don't have the store. And then due to the paper shortage, I think I'm getting them in like 2 to 3 weeks. Knock on wood that nothing changes. So.
All right. Who'd you get them printed with?
I went with Mixam.
I haven't heard of them.
I think they're fairly well known, but I mean, you know, there's so many out there that it's like,
right.
Yeah, it's impossible to hear of all of them. So.
Yeah. All right. I guess, is there anything you want to say before we go?
Parting words. I don't know. Let's see. I'm trying to think of the exciting. You know, what do I have coming up? So we got Fangs and Foul Play 2 is coming out, and the Orb Teller is another story I'm working on about a. Check out my picture. It's about a cursed seer, a fortune teller who reluctantly seeks redemption, but will her greed get the better of her? And so we're working on that. My Headless Gnomes. So Headless Gnomes is actually has some mascots, and I will be announcing those soon. So if people follow along on Facebook, they'll get to see those characters come out. All right. I'm looking forward to that. They're really cute.
All right. Explain it a little bit.
Oh yeah.
What is the mascots?
Headless Gnomes. The mascots are Indrian and Autrian, and they're 2 little gnomes, and they work for this gnome tower. They do. They're in the spy division, and they have to go down to Earth and like spy on the humans and their different going-ons. And I'm still fleshing out a lot of stuff there, but there's going to be some short fiction that goes along with them. So I have, hopefully in like a month, I'm going to have an actual banner.
All right, I like it. It's very original.
Thank you.
Yeah, in a world of indie where a lot of things look the same, I like it doing things way different. All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to come talk with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
What? You mean you haven't subscribed to Comicchatauthority? Oh, come on. Subscribe already. What are you waiting for? It's no big deal. Like, man, don't forget to tell him to hit that like button. Yeah, that too. Just subscribe.